A very good morning to all of you. 8B, welcome to the physics class. Please open to page number 196 and we are going to start with the topic dispersion. Do you have an idea about dispersion? Have you studied it in your previous classes? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. So, anyone just explain me what is dispersion? Tell
And
your
the
name
split
and
of
explain.
and the splitting of white light into seven colors.
Yes, and it is called dispersion. The phenomena is called dispersion. It's not that it only takes place from the prism, but it happens in the nature also. And about that, we are going to study in detail. So, in the previous class, we have studied about the phenomena of dispersion, that is the splitting of white light into a beam of seven colors. That when white light breaks, it breaks into a beam of seven colors. And very easily, we can understand through a simple example, a toy which we would have all played with in our when we were small, when we were kids. We call it a charki or a pirki. Yes. And what do children do? They take strips of paper, white paper, and they adjust it in crisscross manner like this. Yes. And in the center they place a you can say a very thin stick. It can be a stick, a broom, jhadu, and they take it and they keep the whole thing, the whole setup on this. See, the papers, they lie like this. Yes. And then you place a stick, and then they run with that. And when the wind is blowing, the wind moves the pirki in circular motion. And then you can see that white paper, the paper was white, but when it moves, we can see it colorful. Yes, the same way a disc, white paper, white disc, cardboard you can take and you just set it on pass or something and you turn it quickly, you will see that it also, we can see so many colors. So it is about because of that. So splitting of white light into seven colors, white light means the ordinary. Now what I mean to say is that white light is a combination of seven colors. It's not, white means it's a combination of several colors together, seven colors together. So let's talk about white light means the ordinary light or the sunlight that we talk about. Actually, white light is made up of seven colors. That is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red, which makes Vibgyor. Yes, and many of the times in the functions and all, if it is colorful something, we use this word Vibgyor to indicate colors. When white light passes through a prism, now what is a prism? Can anyone tell? You can see it here also in the diagram. What is it? What is a prism? Have you seen it in the
Ma'am, it
lab?
is a 3D object. Ma'am, it is a 3D object which is made up of three rectangular faces on the side.
Yes, glass pieces. Yes, yes, they are rectangular pieces and they are so arranged that they form a 3D structure. A triangular piece. Yes, rectangular glass pieces which are so arranged to form a triangle, but it is three-dimensional. Yes, it's not one-dimensional, but it is three-dimensional, and that is what we call it as prism. It gets separated into a constituent of colors. The pattern so obtained is called the spectrum. Now, see children, from this small paragraph only, there can be several questions framed. As for now, you better know that in the test, it will be taken on the Google form. So you will be having only objective questions. So for that, of course, you won't be given any question where you have to explain the phenomena or something like that. But of course, then for exams, if you talk, 1, 2 marks, 3 marks questions are there. So different questions can be framed. The first question is, what is dispersion? What are seven colors, or what is the band of seven colors, and how is the arrangement of those colors? So you have it here. Put your speaker off, do not disturb the class. So you have that band. What is that band of seven color? Then it can also be called, what is spectrum of light? So there are several questions which can be framed from this little paragraph. So what is spectrum? Then each color has a different wavelength. Therefore, each gets deviated at different angles, resulting into a spectrum. Now here, as you see in the diagram, just have a look. You can see the white light entering. Yes, there's a slit. You have taken a cardboard, or you've taken simple paper, thick paper, chart paper you can say, or hard sheet. And in that hard sheet, you've made a slit. Yes, a space through which the sunlight can enter. Now, as we have already read that sunlight or white light, sunlight is the one that is the white light or the simple ordinary light. Now, when it is going to pass, just look into the diagram. When it is going to pass, children, through the slit, and we have a prism there, and when the through the prism this light passes. Now why we are using slit? Because so that properly the rays of light can fall on the prism. See, as we see, if we keep the prism here, and or if we keep the prism somewhere in open where sunlight is properly available, but then we need proper beam of light to fall on the the prism. That is why we are using this slit. So through this, now we can use a torch also. It's not necessary that we have sunlight. We can use the light from the torch. So when we flash the light through the slit, the light is going to fall on the prism, this 3D structure, and then you see that it breaks up into a band of 7 colors, which makes Vibgyor. And since their wavelengths are different, since their wavelengths are different, which you will be studying about the wavelength in your senior classes, in your ninth, because of that, the deviation of each and every light, as we have studied in the previous topics, the deviation takes place, and because of this deviation, since it is at a different angle, that is why we see different lights arranged one after the other, and it appears as a band of the 7 colors. It looks so beautiful. When this spectrum enters the prism kept in inverted position, the constituent colors recombine to form, and again you take this. Now since the prism was placed upright, now you place it again in you can say inverted manner, ulta. Then again you will see that these band of 7 colors, when they enter, they form the white light. So this proves that yes, actually dispersion or the spectrums are getting formed from the white light. And again, if we reverse the process, this band into 7 colors, they collect and they form the white light, and vice versa. Next, a prism can split white light into 7 colors. In nature also this happens. The process takes place. How? Let's see. The raindrop acts as tiny prism. The raindrops. Now see, when the rain falls, generally we see a rainbow after the rainfall. Now the drops of water, they are here and there lying in the nature. They sometimes settle, they sometimes are there in the environment. And these tiny drops of water, children, they serve as the prism. Small little prism, you can say, pieces of prism, you can say, small prism. And in nature, the raindrops act as tiny prisms, splitting the sunlight, thereby creating beautiful rainbows. That is why rainbow is formed only after the rain. When sunlight comes out, if sunlight is not there, you will not be able to see. Many of the time it rains and the rain, if you see sunlight, then this process takes place, because see, the droplets keep lying there, but until unless the availability of sunlight, the white light is there, then the dispersion process cannot take place. So as soon as the sun comes out after rain, the white light is available, and these tiny drops of water which act as small prisms, again this process takes place, and a beautiful band of 7 color we can see in nature. Now since these drops are arranged everywhere, I mean in the atmosphere, so same way we see the rainbow formed. All drops on the road also produce this phenomenon when on them. Similarly, you must have observed this also, that it happens sometimes that if oil is dropped and if the dispersion process take place, then also sometimes we can see, but there we cannot see a very clear band of color, but still a mixture of color we can see. Similarly, we can see multiple color pattern in soap bubbles. Again, the same process. There the bubbles, they act as the prism, and again they show us different colors, but again you do not see it so clearly. And moreover, children, let me tell you, if you have ever observed this thing, rainbow, have you ever seen it? Actually, have you seen practically?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you must have observed one thing. Being science student, you must know that, see, when we draw, like children, when they draw and color it, you draw it so beautifully and in a proper manner. Yes, you draw proper shapes. And if you see it practically, is it that dark colored in nature?
No,
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 it's
ma'am.
not like that. You can see simple, like you can see very dull colors. Though the colors are, yes, of course, you can identify, but you can see in a very dull manner. It's not so bright, and it's not a proper straight, a proper arc is not formed. You see, you can see it in pieces. Yes, depending upon how the water particles have scattered. So you need to know that. So color pattern soap, these are all are due to the dispersion of light. So we have seen so many examples from soap, we have seen from oil also, and of course through the prism and the raindrops that the dispersion takes place. So this is all about dispersion. It can be asked, what is dispersion? If dispersion is asked, you will tell the whole process. If prism is asked, you will tell about the prism. If spectrum is asked, you will tell only about the band of the 7 colors. If examples are asked, only 1, 2, 3, 4 points you will write that in nature, where do you observe this phenomenon? Is this clear to everyone, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, children, we talk about a new topic, the other topic, and that is human eye. Very, very important. See, our eyes also, a simple thing that we see, a simple phenomena that we are able to see, how we are able to see, or how different objects appear to us in different manner, how their images form, how do we identify these objects, what is happening actually, how this eye which is placed here in the eye socket, how this eye is able to identify different objects, and how do we see it colored, how we see it black and white, why we are able to see the shadows, why we are able to identify the colors, the size of the image. This all, the answers of all these questions we'll be able to find out when we study the structure and the functioning of the eye. Now in your lower classes, as you know that all the these sense organs, children, how do they work? Work, they're connected to the who orders?
Nerves through brain.
Yes, 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 correct. We are able to know that what we are doing, what we are looking, what we are feeling, it is hot, whatever. It is because our brain orders us. If our brain is not working, we'll not be able to sense. And one of the sense organs is the eye, which tells us about the surrounding by looking at the things. We are able to know about the size, shape, colors, etc. because our eyes tell us about the surroundings. So this is all about a simple way in which we talk about what our eyes do. Now today we are going to learn scientifically that how this eye is made of, what all substructures are present in our eye, what are the parts of eye, and how it functions. So let's talk about it. Page number 196. We have studied that we can see an object only if the light reflected from the object reaches our eyes. If the initial thing that we studied in this chapter was, and I think I've given you the question answer related to this also, that what are the things needed for proper vision. So one of the thing important was our eye. If eyes are not there, see, for a blind person, may the availability of the object is there, the light is there, and the path of light is also proper. It's not bending, but then to a blind person will not be able to see since the eyes are not functioning in proper manner. So for us to see, it's important that the reflected light reaches our eyes. Our eyes are the sense organs that provide the sensory perception of the light. So we are able to sense it. Let us understand in detail how eye works and how it enables us to see the object. So one by one we'll be talking about the parts and we'll be seeing in the diagram itself. There are two eyes, that is a pair of human beings, in a pair of eyes in human beings. The eyes is almost spherical in shape with a bulge. Eyes eyelids, as these eyelids cover for protection, and shutters and prevents eyes from getting dust, injury, etc. As soon as anyone does like this, and the first thing that you do is you close your eyes. So that is for protection purpose. You close your eyelids close so that your eyes get protected. And same way, children, many of the time you must have actually practically experienced that sometimes you avoid serious injury because of your eyelids. Yes, many of the times when you are fighting with your siblings and chatak and your eyes get closed. Yes, when your eyelids close, the actual destruction which could happen to your eye is avoided. So the eyelids are closed during sleep. Let us discuss the various parts of the eye in the following paragraph. The first one, that is the cornea. The pronunciation is already given. Cornea, it is the outer bulging part of the eye. Now if you see in the diagram, you can see the first part. Let's start from the left, children. I've started from the left. So the first bulging part that you can see, that is the cornea. Fine. The function of the function of the sorry, it is a transparent and allows light to enter the eye. The cornea protects the eye and helps in focusing the light. Now see what the first part, the bulging part. If we talk about, like, if we see our eyes this way, then the first part is the cornea, the bulging part, and this allows the entry of the light first thing. As you can see, it is the first part here, bulge part. So it also protects, yes, it also protects the eye and helps in focusing the light. The light which is coming, it helps in focusing it. Then the second one is the iris. It is the colored part of the eye behind the cornea. The function of the iris is to control the amount of light entering. Now, you must have experienced a phenomena that when you come out from the sunlight and enter a dark room, you do like this. And the same way from the light, if you enter a dark, yes, if from the dark room, if you enter the light, you adjust your, now what you do, sometimes you do like this is actually you are adjusting the entry of the light, since the light was not there and all of a sudden there is so much of light, so your eyes adjust, the iris adjusts the entry of the light, is increasing. The function of the iris is to control the amount of light entering by increasing and decreasing the size of the pupil. Now, see, this you have to study side by side, children. Iris, just have a look at the iris and also have a look at the pupil. Now, pupil is the tiny hole in the middle of the iris. If you see the iris, in the middle you can see a circular structure, and this is the pupil, and this is in between of the iris through which light is going to enter. So now if the iris, now see, if this is the hole in the center, the space, this is the pupil through which the light is going to enter. So this is going to move, increase, decrease like this, and it is going to control the entry of the light, when less light is required and when more light is required. Fine. Then we talk about, so let's continue about the iris. Iris also gives distinct color to the eye. The pigment present in the iris is responsible for the eye color, such as, so what about the eye color of Aishwarya Rai? Girls?
Brown, I think.
Brown?
Ma'am, bluish gray.
Correct. It's somewhat bluish gray. Yes. See, actually, you cannot, I mean, like very clearly say, but sometimes, it like greenish. It is sometimes brownish, bluish also sometimes. Yes. There's an actress, Lisa Ray. You've seen her. She has bluish eyes. Yes. So it depends upon the color of the iris. So we have talked about the cornea. We have talked about the iris, and we have talked about the pupil. Pupil is nothing, just a space through which the light enters. Iris, which is the colored part, it gives the color to the eyes, children, and it controls the amount of the light by adjusting itself depending upon that how much light is required, more or less. And then cornea, of course, the first part, it is the bulging part and transparent, which allows the light to enter. Now, next we talk about the lens. The lens is behind the pupil and the iris. Now, again, have a look at the diagram. You can see beautiful brownish color lens. Yes, and it is behind the iris and the pupil. Of course, the lens will be there, then only the further process can take place. So this is there behind the pupil and the iris. The human eye is a convex lens. Convex lens. Remember, can anyone tell me the shape?
Ma'am, thicker in the middle and thinner at the edges.
Very
Ma'am,
good.
it is
So,
in the middle and middle in the edges.
middle it is?
Edges, ma'am.
Edges is what? How is it at edges? Who is it? Anadi? Tell me. At the center it is?
Center it is thicker and at the
Yes.
center it is, and ma'am it is thinner at the edges.
Good. Very good. Correct.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry for disturbing.
No, it's okay. Why do you say sorry? You should be sorry only when it is required. Don't be so much sorry, children. Yes. Close your speaker. Yes. Now, Yes, so it is a convex lens made up of protein. The function of the lens is to focus light to form an image on the retina. Now children very well understand that the lens is there, convex lens is there, and as we studied in the last class that the image was formed on a screen. Remember? We were changing the position and same way the image was formed on the screen. A white sheet was taken which was called the screen. The same way here the image formation will take place on the retina. Fine. So the lens is there so that through it light can pass and the image formation can take place. Next, retina is the lining behind the eyeball. Now just have a look here. Retina, there's a line, there's a lining, the whole continuous thing you can see, that is the retina. It acts as the screen on which the image is formed. As I just told you, retina has numerous nerve receptors. Now see here, it is not the normal lens that we were talking about. It is the lens in our eye. And of course, it is going to help us in seeing. And we are only be able to see when something, the message reaches our brain. And your brain tells this, yes, this is your ma'am, this is your book, this is your copy, this is your pencil, this is your laptop, this is your box. Fine. So the nerves from here, they have to go to the brain to tell that what we are actually seeing. So, retina has numerous nerve receptors that send the signals to the brain where the image is finally perceived that what we are seeing. It contains two types of receptor, that is rods and cones. Rods are sensitive to dim light when the light is dim, and cones are sensitive to bright light, children. Additionally, the cones are also responsible for seeing the colored things. Fine. So, dim light, rods, bright light, cones, and cones are also responsible for your colored image. Now just have a look at the diagram, the rods and the cones. The arrangement is like this. The rods and the cone, the color ones you can see, they are the cones. Fine, so the colored image is formed like that. So we have talked about cornea, we have talked about iris, pupil, lens, retina. Fine, so this much we have talked about. Now children, let me inform you that I'll be, as I have already told you, I'll be sending a video related to the image formation. Please observe it very carefully. Then start preparing for your for your objective questions. I'll be just sending you the message on WhatsApp related to the syllabus. Finally, that how much will you get? I'll just discuss and I'll tell it to you. But just keep one thing nicely in your mind. Do not depend on the copy work. I've already sent a message on WhatsApp regarding this. Do not depend on the copy work, since you will not be having the test in question answer form. That will be for your examination. Here you need to know small little things about the chapter. Okay, so this is how we have come to the end of the chapter, for the end of the class, children. Just keep messaging if there's any problem and be connected, and whatever written work is there, just keep writing that. Fine, children. So till we meet again, take care of yourselves. Bye bye, children.
Ma'am, we don't have to learn in the copy work.